Hello everyone, welcome to another disused railway walk and colliery explore. I'm at the site of what was Butchers Wood, Teversal and Silverhill collieries in Nottinghamshire. Now, people that have watched the channel a fair bit will probably be thinking, well mate, haven't you done that? And I have, sort of. So the first ever walk I ever did was from the site of Teversal Colliery to Teversal and Silverhill. And then I did another walk from this area off out to Plesley Pit. So I've got one more to do, and that's the Great Northern Railway's Lean Valley extension from Silverhill, Teversal, Butchers Wood Collieries down to Skegby. And that's what I'm going to be doing today. So here's Rail Map Online. If you see that big melee of red lines on the left, that's the Great Northern lines into Silverhill Colliery. The ones on the right are the Great Northern lines into Teversal Colliery. What I'm going to do, I'm going to have a little look around there, and then I'm going to follow it where they join together underneath that yellow line. That's the Midland line, going underneath there, following it all the way around, and as you see, it just joins up with that long Great Northern red line from top to bottom. And at that point, that's Skegby station, and that'll be the end of today's stomp. So these are the spoil heaps, excuse the wind, the spoil heaps of Silverhill Colliery. Now at the top there, you've got the miners statue, which you may have seen. I won't bother walking up there because I'm actually going to be going in totally the opposite direction. But these are the shafts of Silverhill Colliery. One there and one there, and they've got like a release valve there because there's still gas coming out from underground. Now a line from the Silverhill Colliery that was put in by the Great Northern went off in that direction, goes through those woods. Nothing remains of that whatsoever. I've actually had a hunt around those woods there looking for some remains. Nothing, because it's all been re-landscaped. But another line went off here where that lady's, or man, I don't know why I'm judging that far away, is sat on top of a horse. I'm going to guess woman. It's normally a woman on a horse, isn't it? So I'm going to follow this down to Teversal Colliery, and from there I'll jump on that Great Northern line. It was neither a man or a woman, it was a kid. So these are the only remains of Silverhill Colliery, but they're pretty cool remains. I know I've looked at this before, but I'll put up some footage because there's plenty of footage on YouTube of coal wagons coming out of here. This was a loading building where the wagons would come through and the coal was dropped into the wagons, and they'd go off in that direction past what was Teversal Colliery and round onto that Midland line, which went off to Westhouses, which was the first ever walk I ever did. So in 1867, John and Robert Crompton, two brothers, sunk a pit at Butchers Wood, which is this wooded area that I'm walking towards now. That expanded into Teversal Colliery. It became Teversal Colliery. Now the reason I'm saying Butchers Wood Colliery, Teversal Colliery, is if they're two separate things. It's actually, people call them two different collieries. They'll say Butchers Wood and they'll say Teversal. It's actually the same colliery. So they sunk that pit. It was actually one of the lowest ever shafts in Nottinghamshire, I think. I don't think it went that low. So a lot of these mines, go way down, like come out in Australia jobs. But that expanded, became Teversal Colliery, and that remained open until 1980. Fortunately, there's no remains of that whatsoever. But 10 years after that, they then expanded, took over the Stanton Iron Works, which is just outside Ilkeston, which you may have heard of, because that's a huge complex, or it was a huge complex. And then 10 years later they sunk this pit, Silverhill Colliery, and this remained open until 1992, which is why, you know, I can manage to get footage to show you of what that colliery looked like and the coal wagons coming out and stuff like that. Now just maybe a mile from here, not far, is a village called Stanton Hill. Now Stanton Hill didn't actually exist until the expansion into Silverhill Colliery. Because they needed miners, obviously they needed thousands of workmen. They actually built a village to house those miners, and because it was built by the Stanton Ironworks Company, they named it Stanton Hill, so that's where the name comes from. These have come after the colliery. So the line came out of there, it went around through those trees, again, no remains whatsoever, it's completely re-landscaped, all of this. I mean, it's quite beautiful, isn't it, to be fair? And there was a pit there, obviously, there was an ironworks, a brickworks, there was all sorts going on there. I'm pretty sure those two massive swans were the same ones here a year ago. They're enormous. Someone actually commented on one of my videos the other day, actually, because I've made a new intro, but the old intro had those swans on it. And I made a comment on how big they were, and this lad commented saying he missed that intro. Look at the size of that. I don't know if they are the same swans, because how can you tell, do you know what I mean? It's not like they've got the same face or anything. So this is the colliery, this is Teversal Colliery. Gone in 1980, like I say, but they used to bring the coal out of Silverhill around here until 92. And he went round, in a loop kind of thing, around those trees there, and jumped on to that Midland line. Now this is the road access up into Teversal Colliery. And that there, that embankment, that was the Great Northern line that came from Skegby straight into what was Teversal Colliery. So I'm going to jump up onto that. Now the bridge has been taken out the other side, so I ain't going to try and jump, but I'll get up there and have a look. So that goes down into Teversal. So like I say, this colliery was built in 1867, was first sunk in 1867, but this line that connected it to Skegby didn't come until 1897 as part of that Lean Valley extension, which we've walked an awful lot of. It included lines into Sutton and off to Plesley, obviously, and then up to Shirebrook and stuff. Me and Phil have done those walks, so if you have a look in the East Midlands Colliery walks, there's a bunch of them there, so you can see the rest of this line that's already been done. So I'm on the track bed now. There you go, there's the road access, and this is the line. Now this was taken away in 1968 when that Lean Valley extension down to Skegby was finally removed. Now I don't really know what I'm expecting to find on this particular bit of track bed. Some sleepers would be great, but I'm not overly optimistic. But once we get the other side of this, there are some remains of the line then. But you never know. Do you know what I mean? If you don't try, you don't succeed and all that. I'm quite glad I'm under tree coverage though, because the rain's getting a little bit heavier now. Here we go, here's some bits and bobs going on then. Here's some sleepers, some concrete sleepers. See, that one's still got a bolt in it, that one there, look. Here we go, look. Plenty going on. There we go, even more sleepers. They seem to all be cut off, so you've basically got the ends of them. I thought back there maybe they were buried, but I don't think they are. They've literally just been kind of, ow, stung by a stinging nettle. There you go, see what I mean? Every single one. It's like someone's just come down straight down the middle of them. The embankment's pretty big now. So we're about to get to the end of the line basically, and then there was a bridge that went over the road, but that's been taken away. As you can see, the embankment opens out now, and it's quite a big space. And if you look at old maps, you can see there was 3 or 4 lines here going into Teversal Colliery. It's split up, so I'm assuming they were, you know, storing wagons and stuff before being carted off. And again, here's more sleepers, and look, they're all chopped up. I've not seen that before, to be honest. I'm not sure what that's all about. So here's some of the stonework from that bridge then. Look at that. They all kind of looked like that, didn't they? Had that sort of pattern on that stone. But this is the end of the line for me then at this point. So I'm gonna have to clamber down and walk around, because this was that bridge, and obviously that's long gone, unfortunately. So I'm gonna clamber down there, jump up the other side, and then I'll get on that line. What happened at this point is one line went off following that tree line in the distance. That went off into Teversal sidings, which is over there in those trees. It was a big sidings complex. Again, unfortunately, nothing left of that either. So let me get down here. Right, it's definitely, this is stack it territory, isn't it? I didn't stack it, believe it or not. But there you go, look, there's that stonework. So that's the road access up into Teversal Colliery. And this is the end of the bridge, which is taken out. Now if you look at that building, you look at the woodwork at the top there on that roof. There's so many photos of that, because the line came across here, but another line went the other side of that, and that's where the station was. So I'm gonna have a walk up and see if there's any remains of that bridge. The other line that came out of Silverhill Colliery came across the road here. Now there is a photo taken from basically up on that embankment that shows the bridge, and it shows the station, which is unfortunately no longer there. Okay, so I've climbed up. That looks like, do you know what I mean, nothing. But let me just put that photo up now and overlay it. The station was right there in those trees, and the bridge came across here, and the two lines join up in a sec. So unfortunately this section kind of needs a lot of maps and a lot of pictures of the old days to kind of make it make sense, because there's nothing left. I'm going to get up now and walk away from Teversal. Teversal's an interesting place though. It's a tiny little village, really tiny, but actually if you drive through it, there's a pub on the left called the Carnarvon. And the reason for that is a lot of the land here was owned by the Earl of Carnarvon and the Countess of Carnarvon and stuff. Because it's a really old village. It was in the Doomsday Book, Teversal. But they owned a lot of the land here. And actually ended up selling off a lot of the land to build, you know, the colliery and all that kind of stuff. But in 1922, the Earl of Carnarvon, who owned all this land, was actually the geezer that found the tomb of Tutankhamun. So when you're walking through Teversal, there's a picture of King Tut, and I was looking at it thinking, what on earth is going on there? But that's why. Now it makes sense. So here we go, I'm back on the line I was walking from Teversal Colliery. It goes over here. That's where the bridge has been taken out. So Silverhill Pit, which is where I started today, that went in 1992, as I say. And if you go on YouTube, you can, well, you're already on YouTube, you can watch a little documentary about that. I'm pretty sure it's called Shafted, I think, because basically they were shafted, the guys. And it tells you a bit of the history about Silverhill and about, you know, how they shut down the pit and stitched up the people that worked there. So it's worth watching. So there you go. Some form of gate post there. So this is a track bed here. Now, in a minute, the Midland line, which is that Tibshelf and Plesley branch, which was my first ever walk, that went over the top here. There's a big bridge that went over, obviously it's all been filled in now, but there's a big bridge that went over the top. And when you see some of the pictures of Teversal Station, and there is one from the last ever day of steam there, I think it was about 1968. They had they ran like a gala, steam gala train. And the photo is from over there, which is where the station was, because this actually split. So it came under there, the line went that way to the station, that's all long gone, and this one went straight into Teversal Colliery. I'm stood about now where the bridge was, where the Midland line went over the top. And you can see, I'll put a photo up now, and you can see exactly what that looked like. Now, do you know what I mean, it's a bench, a couple of trees, but there was a lot going on. So that was the site of Teversal, Butcher's Wood and Silverhill Collieries. Now I'm on the Lean Valley Extension, the Great Northern Railway. So I'm going to walk that. It's about 1.5 miles, I think, to Skegby. It's not a hell of a long way, but you know, it's a Tuesday morning and it's just got me out of the house. The weather's a bit grim. It started off dead nice and then it's, you know, started raining on me. But through there you've got the Teversal Colliery Visitor Centre. There's the winding arms there and stuff as well. That's lunch sorted. So this line I'm walking on was built by the Great Northern Railway in 1897, and it connected those two collieries down to Skegby, to the rest of the Lean Valley extension. Now, there were stations on that line that opened in 1900, 1901, but this one, it basically never opened, Teversal. So they had platform station buildings and stuff like that, but it was only ever used for trains, you know, for miners to get to work, basically, unscheduled ones, you know, hop on one, here we go, and occasionally trips to Skeggy for tourism and stuff like that, but they never had a timetabled service. So if you've ever seen Bradshaw's guide, I think it's about 1922, there was Bradshaw's guide of you know, British railways. It's dead famous. Michael Portillo, if you've ever seen it, he's travelling around the country with it, going on trains, trying to reinvent himself. He didn't even appear in that Teversal station, so that book had everything. So it's quite wide at this point. I wasn't expecting it to be quite as wide as this. It was just a single track line. Here we go, and I can see a bridge. Alright, so we've got some infrastructure. It's only sort of halfway through the video. Teversal actually had two stations, which is crazy because it's a tiny village. But as happened with a lot of places, including Plesley actually, it was just further down that line, they were both called Teversal, which has got to get confusing, isn't it? Oh, where do you want to meet? I'll meet you at Teversal station. Flip a coin. So in the end, in the 20s, they changed the name on the Midland line from Teversal to Teversal Manor, which was named after, obviously, Teversal Manor, which is where the geezer that found Tutankhamun lived. And they changed that Teversal station on the Great Northern line to Teversal East. I'm not sure why they bothered with that one, because like I say, it was never used. You know, it was never used at all, really. Like the odd miners' train and the odd excursion, that was basically it. So we've dropped down quite a bit now. I mean, it's quite an incline, isn't it, actually? So we've dropped down from basically being on an embankment to now being in a cutting, hence the need for the bridge. I mean, I'm not so into, you know, iron, but I do like the brickwork, the stonework. It's great, and it's you know, it's uniform all over Derbyshire, and to be fair, all over Yorkshire as well. Beautiful. Look at that. Pretty sure that's just farm access, that. In fact, I know it is. It's not a road, that one. So look around the other side again. Huge stones. Kev and Beth, they've been here, so that's good to know. Cutting is getting deeper and deeper and deeper at the minute. This is the last one, like to complete this lot. I've been thinking for a while to get it done. Hang on, there is something here. What is that? Not sure what that is. It looks like it could be like the bottom of a, well, it could be, you know, a part of a drain, I suppose, but it kind of looks like the shape of, you know, you get those like those permanent way gang huts. Oh, and there's another two there. Oh, I'm not sure what that's all about then. Answers on a postcard. So it's suddenly got crazy windy, and I've gone from that deep cutting to all of a sudden being back on an embankment. And the beauty I love about Derbyshire and Nottinghamshire, to be fair, is that you can just be in the middle of a town or in the middle of a village, and literally with a click of a fingers you are in the middle of nowhere. Not anything to be seen, not a house, not anything, can't hear anything apart from the wind. Love it. And here we go, we've got another bridge. Let's have a clamber down, let's see what this is. Again, this will just be farm access, I imagine. Not going to be wide enough for vehicles. Ooh. Yeah, there we go, look. So that's just a farmer getting from one field to another. But again, everything's built to such high standards. I know I go on about the Victorians all the time, but they were amazing, weren't they? A part of me thinks, like, oh, I'd love to go back. Time machine is, mate, ultimate dream goal, that. To go back to Victorian times and just see how it was done. It'd be amazing. And just ride around the country on all the different railways. But then I think they'd have hated me, because I'm a bit of a slob, to be fair, so maybe I'll stay where I am. Look at the depth of that embankment. And do you know what I mean? It's only a stone's throw back there that we're going underneath that bridge and we're in a deep cutting. Ooh, just going to climb off that embankment, because obviously I just love tempting fate, don't I? Do you know what I mean? If I haven't stacked it, it's not a walking video for me, so Why not just create more and more scenarios to make that more likely? But I heard some running water and I looked down, I saw some brickwork, so I nearly went then. So and it was a scramble, I've just scrambled down off the track bed, and here we go. I could hear the running water. And look at this. Wow, that's beautiful, that. That is beautiful. So let me get, if I was wearing wellies, I could get in there, but I've made the fatal error of trainers again, as I always do on these walks. I need to get some proper walking boots actually. There we go. Look at that. So you've got that blue engineering brick, and as you can see, look how massive that is. It's really, really long, but it's only single track, but it's such a high embankment. Obviously, it's had to be that long to get through it. As you can see, real high embankment, but beautiful stonework again. Although that at the top there looks like that's coming loose. Maybe we shouldn't go in it then. There's me suddenly, do you know what I mean, starting to think about safety, having just gone in all those ridiculous lead mines with Phil. Better late than never though. I may as well think about health and safety now. No, now I'm 42. And here's another one. I nearly missed that, you know, with the ivy and stuff growing all over it. But so there's a public footpath there. So you can get underneath it then. It's pretty muddy, mind, and there's running water, so that's a good sign. But there you go, yeah. So that then goes into, what's that, Teversal Pastures Nature Reserve. We are very lucky in this country actually with the you know, the countryside and stuff that we've got still preserved. You know, they're not built on it yet, but it is lovely. I just love getting out stomping. I always have done. For me, I think part of it, do you know what? If I was, you know, lying on a chaise longue talking to a psychiatrist, it might come from the fact that when I was younger, I had like a bone wasting disease in my hip, and so I spent so much time, like I've had 8 surgeries, so I'd spent so much time, you know, in hospital beds and X, Y and Z. And then in later life I played football, yeah, to a decent enough level to be fair, but I played football and then I broke my tib and fib and I was out of the game for a year. So actually now, like, I don't take anything for granted, do you know what I mean? I really don't. I'm like, I'm going to use these 2 legs while they're still working. Here we go, so here's another bridge. Not sure what goes underneath here. Oh, it's actually wider than I thought. Or maybe that is farm access, or at least it was, you know. Yeah. So as you can see, they've taken this bridge out, and then the council have put this back at a later date. I'm not sure when they did that. I think, you know, 80s and 90s, I guess, was when they started. You can see, like, from the brickwork, obviously the bridge was wider. You see that there, it would have come through there. But yeah, 80s and 90s is when they started, you know, opening these footpaths up and stuff. Never feel like you're being watched. So we're not far from the end now. We'll basically come round in a curve like that, and we'll join up with that line that went from Sutton through Skegby up to Plesley Pit. We'll join up with that, and it basically made, including that Midland line, made like a bit of a triangle basically. There's another one there. There's loads of bridges actually in a real short space, and they're not wide. So this is Skegby Junction. And I've got my eyes peeled. Yeah, what is that there? Oh, that's just a drain. I've kind of got my eyes peeled, thinking, you know, there would have had to have been some signal posts here, but and there might be a ground frame for that or something, but I'm not seeing anything just yet. Okay. So back there, link track that's called. So back there, Teversal Pit, Silverhill Colliery. This line here, this is the main Lean Valley extension line. That goes all the way up to Plesley Pit, through there, and then on, you know, up towards Shirebrook, and you've got Mansfield Woodhouse line goes off out of Plesley as well. Me and Phil have done both of those actually. So that's that walk there. I need to complete that actually. I just realised I've actually not done that section from there to Plesley, which I'll do at some point. And this line goes on here now into Skegby Station, literally just round the corner. We're not far out of there at all. Here we go, we've got some sleepers, look. Some sleepers buried. So if you look in that direction, the line goes, and it's hidden now. but it goes off there to Silverhill and Teversal. Now this bridge, once I get to the other side of this bridge, I'll kind of do a little bit of a layover with an old photograph of Skegby Junction, so you can see exactly what this looked like. I'll tell you, the internet is an absolute godsend for finding old photos, and you can find some real random stuff that you're like, why was anyone taking a picture of that? But it's great because it brings these videos to life. Without them, it's a fella in a do you know what I mean, in a field or something. So here we go. This is a really wide bridge, and the reason for that is there was loads of lines going off here. Loads of lines going off. And if I come back here, I'm trying to think location wise, basically the signal box was here. In fact, I would say the signal box was here actually. I think that's what that is. So you can see the retaining wall there, and it's kind of set back from the line. So that would have been where the signal box was. So if I come to about here, you imagine signal box on the right just there, you've got the lines all going off, and then the ones going off to the left, if you look really closely, the ones that go off to the left, that's the one going off to Teversal and to Silverhill Collieries. I've just spotted something off here. Ooh, just clamber through. Not sure what this is about, but it's obviously something railway related. Again, answers on a postcard if you know anything about that. I mean, that could well have been like the top end of a signal post, couldn't it? But there'll be people out there that know a lot better than me. Oh, I basically just broke my neck nearly for that. So what is this? So this is a ground frame then. So there's something going off here, some big signal post I would suggest there, which would make sense because we're at Skegby station basically. So the line would open out into sidings. But yeah, there's something going off there, that's for sure. Alright, clamber back through here then. Rain's getting heavier now, which means I can't get the drone up, but fortunately enough, me and Phil ended a walk at this station, at Skegby station, so I'm just going to recycle old footage. It's better for the environment, isn't it? So here we go, the wind's got up as well. So there's the station master's house, through there, that L shape again, they all kind of look the same, didn't they? Now Skegby station was on a bridge, which was right there. Obviously this has been totally decimated, but the railway went over a bridge over there, and the station was actually on top of that bridge. And there is some amazing footage which I'll put on now of what that station looked like. So that's me, just a short one. A little walk around the site of Silverhill Colliery and Teversal Colliery. Not much there, unfortunately. But then it's a lovely little branch line down to Skegby, where there's plenty of bridges and embankments and cuttings and all that kind of stuff. As always, thank you so much for watching. 85 episodes in 10 months, which is mad really. And what's even madder is I've actually filmed another 2, one down at Magpie Mine up in the Peak District, and also one at Lumsdale Valley Mills, which is just outside Matlock. So I'll get them done over the next few days and released. Hope you've enjoyed that little stomp. I'll see you next time.